On to this now, anti-apartheid activist Reverend Allan Boesak has likened President Cyril Ramaphosa administration to former leader PW Botha's government. It comes after he and Tourism Minister Lindiwe Sisulu were allegedly barred from seeing jailed former Northern Cape Chair John Block. The Correctional Services Department stopping the pair, saying they had not made the necessary arrangement. Boesak joins us now. Good evening to you, and thank you so much for your time. So it's been about 48 hours since you attempted this visit in the Northern Cape. Your reflections over the last 48 hours, and specifically, do you think that you could have done things differently?
Good evening, Kathy, and good evening to your viewers. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Well, yeah, we've been thinking about this. I don't know how we could have done it differently. I have, in the meantime, secured from the minister's office the letter that she had written asking for permission to visit Mr. Block as she was coming when she got assurances that that she would be able to see him, she asked whether since I was in Uppington for other matters at the invitation of the churches and some schools, whether I would accompany her. And I thought it would be a good idea for me to go. That would give me an opportunity to pray with him, which would be the only reason for me to go and see him. And so when we got to Monday evening, we were assured from the office there in Uppington that we had a time set, which was for 11 o'clock on Tuesday morning. So all of that was done. Permission was given. We got to the first gate, Kathy, and then we were allowed in, and they were saying everything is fine, to the second gate where we were stopped. And there the problems began. So the minister and I sat in the vehicle for more than an hour, waiting to be allowed in. And finally they were saying no, they were not going to let the minister in. Upon which I asked, can I, as a minister of the gospel, go in and go see Mr. Block and pray with him? And I was denied. And it was that denial for me to go and pray for somebody in prison that made me think of the 1980s and the prohibition that Mr. PW Botha's government had put on the churches to pray for those who were in prison. That is when I first thought that this has struck me as a particularly difficult and distressful moment that took me back to those apartheid years and how this government is reflecting those attitudes that I sincerely had hoped that we would leave behind.
When we look at what has been said in the public space, the reality is that it's now become the word of Minister Sisulu against that of the officials of the Department of Correctional Services, because they disagree on this issue of permission. You say you've seen the letter, you have access to the letter. Will you be able to make that letter publicly available so that we can actually see for ourselves the permission that is said to have been granted?
Well, the letter that she asked for permission to go and see him, that is the one I saw. But these are the things, the technical issues, that you should be talking to the office of the minister. And she is quite capable of furnishing whatever documentation she has. All I know is that we have been given a word that by Monday night, that 11 o'clock on Tuesday morning, we would be welcomed. And the fact, Kathy, that we were in fact welcomed at that first gate, and the fact that we were allowed to go to the second gate but then were stopped, makes me understand very clearly that between that first permission at the first gate and the second permission that was given, something happened. Some political instruction was given not to allow the minister. And that is where the shenanigans, the political shenanigans came in that I accused the correctional services of. And it's clear as daylight for anybody who can think that that is what must have happened.
So I'm quite hesitant, right, to venture into the realm of speculation. Again, because this issue seems to be a rather straightforward one, that if there was approval for the visit, whatever communication exists between the Minister and the Correctional Services Department should set that out clearly. The department has come out to say that part of the reason why you were both denied access is because you were trying to gain entry into the Correctional Services facility outside of what would be its traditional visiting times, and that there was this assumption that there would be special favors effectively done to allow the visit.
No. Look, on the minister's side, and again, she and her office are quite capable of explaining this themselves. On the minister's side, she would not have come all the way to Uppington if she had not been assured that the visit had been permitted. I would not have gone with her if there was not a certainty and a time was not given to me. I had to drive back to Cape Town, and I was quite happy to say, all right, let's postpone my trip back to Cape Town for a few hours because 11 o'clock sounds a good time to me. We can still get out of Uppington on time. So if there had not been the assurances of time that came from correctional services in Uppington to us to say that is the time when you would be allowed to see him, we would not have gone. I am not a fool and I am not a child, and I will not go and sit outside. What for? What for? There's no gain for me to go and sit in Uppington sun and wait for something that I'm not sure that has been given. Also, I have too much respect for myself to force myself into a situation like that, and so does the minister. And so, no, we would not have gone if the assurances had not been given. And so somebody is not telling the truth, and that somebody is not on the minister's side, and certainly is not me.
How sure are you that, in as far as what you are being told by the minister about these assurances that she says she was given, how sure are you about those facts?
Why, Kathy, why would the minister lie to me? The minister has great respect for me, as I have great respect for her. Why would she lie to me? She could have gone there on their own if she wanted to make some political point. She wanted to go with me because I said to her, I will go with you because it gives me the opportunity to pray for John Block. And the point is, we must not shift now the debate from whether permission was given or not. We must ask ourselves the question. If I were, being what I am, a minister of the gospel, not unknown to whoever is in charge there, if I had been in Uppington, by the way, for that weekend, and I asked, can I go and see him? What is the matter with correctional services that they have come to the point that an inmate who is in need of spiritual guidance always is being prohibited from being visited by a priest of the church? That is the question. That is what I highlighted.
The fundamental issue here, Mr. Boesak, seems to center on process and procedure and the extent to which that process and procedure was followed. From what I've heard officials of the Correctional Services Department saying, it is not so much about a denial of an inmate being able to get visitors, including visitors like yourself, but it's really that there was an assumption that there would be special treatment given to both you and the minister.
I disagree. I disagree. It is not a question of special treatment. If Minister Sisulu had thought that she would come in on special treatment, why would she have submitted an application, an asking permission to come? Why would she have forced herself? Look, the minister has no reason to do that. I have even less reason. And I still say, I have been in prison myself.
So then what do you think is behind it?
I think there is political shenanigans.
Why?
That's I told you so.
Why?
What? So look, Mr. Block, it seems to me, from what I hear afterwards in our conversations with people in Uppington, Mr. Block still seems to have quite some influence on people's opinions in Uppington, and not as in Uppington, in the Northern Cape, because of his position. This is an election season. I am clear in my own mind that the minister, if she had not been such a threat to the sitting president in terms of the elections that are coming in December and after, that she should have been and could have been easily admitted. And the fact that permission was given and then permission was withdrawn tells me clearly that they were thinking, no, this is a situation that they do not want. I don't know what they thought would come out of there. I don't know what they thought I would come out and say after I had prayed with him, but clearly that is a political decision that was made for somebody's benefit.
Are you aware
and that benefit was not. Am I aware of what?
Are you aware of any conversation that the minister was planning to have with John Block around an endorsement?
No, I don't know. She wanted to visit him as a relative. She said to me, I've come here and I wanted to see him as a relative. And that was good enough for me. And that is also the reason that she had put forward in her letter to correctional services, which she had written the week before. So it seems to me that if she says, I'm coming to see my relatives, I say, I happen to be here, I'm coming to pray. Why would that be stopped? It says only stopped because she is a political figure to be reckoned with. She now has power. Of course, they have made a serious mistake because the thing is backfiring. They should not have done this because it's now a disaster. So now they're backpedaling, and the only thing that they can say is that both the minister and I am lying. And I'm not lying, and I can tell you this. And whoever tells you that I am lying knows that they are not speaking the truth. I'm clear in my mind. If I go to pray for somebody...
Do you support the minister's decision to sue the state on this issue?
That's the minister's decision. I have nothing to do with that. The minister must make that decision whether if Mr. John Block wants to sue the state because he argues that his constitutional rights have been denied and have been trampled upon. That is his issue. If the minister, in her personal capacity as a relative or something, seeks to support him, that is her decision.
Right.
My question is that I now know for a fact, apart from other similarities that I have seen in the Ramaphosa government with apartheid and apartheid state, I now know for a fact the last time I was prohibited from praying for someone in prison was under PW Botha. The next time is 2022 under Cyril Ramaphosa. That's what I know. That's what I will tell the churches, and I will say to the churches, be careful how you deal with this government, because this government is showing the same kind of attitudes that we found in the apartheid government.
Allan Boesak, let's leave it there for tonight. Thanks for your time.